Let me put it here. I'll do that. Okay, it shouldn't change now. It should stay. Okay, so your sentences, you can work on that.
Done. What's the name again?
What's what name? Timothy?
No, the second.
Monique?
Oh, Monique. You just said it, right?
Okay, Corey is one person plus how many of his friends?
4.
So that's the number sentence. You still have 4 plus. Wait, what is that?
0. I got
No,
it.
it's 1. Corey's one person, so it's 1 plus 4. It's not 8. Okay.
I think I did everything correct. Wait.
It's not 8? No. 1 plus 4 is not 8. We're almost done?
I'm done. I'm done. Not yet.
Yet? Okay. Huh? Partisan language, 47. I know.
Instead of 400.
47. What she said? To take it back? Sorry, no. Sorry, no. Nothing. Should I start on them? Okay. All right, let's go over number 1. Timothy invited Lee, Joseph, Ben, William, and Tyler to his party. Go ahead, Harlem.
Capitalize the T.
First letter T, capitalized. Good.
And capitalize the L in comma.
Good. Capitalize my L and Lee, and then put my comma right after. Okay.
And capitalize J and comma.
Good. J and Joseph, comma.
And capitalize the B and comma.
B and Ben, comma.
And capitalize the W and comma.
Good.
That's a lot of stuff. Finish it with a period.
Oh, and T, Tyler. Capitalize, yep. And then we finish with the period. Awesome.
Everything.
Who did all of that?
Me.
Every single thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Look.
Okay, good. Okay, number 2. Monique likes to sing, dance, skate, and draw. All of those words are something that we're learning today. Okay, Brian.
Capitalize M.
Capitalize first letter M.
I did it. Capitalize S. That's what you
Something else I have to do.
Put commas
Comma where?
between sing and
Dance. Between sing and dance.
In between dance and skate.
And
then put a comma at the end of skate.
good. Draw and then finish with the
Period.
good. So this one only had a capital letter in the beginning and 3 commas. And who did all of those right? All of them?
Yep.
Okay, awesome.
Awesome.
Good. So that's all I wanted to review were these 2 sentences on today. Commas in a series. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the next lesson, phonics.
Woo.
So today we are introducing chart 11. I'm gonna hold it today.
Miss
My
Lynn,
sense
can we
line, and that's it.
like did with the first graders did? Like on like when they're trying to hold the chart. Wait, what?
Some language. All right, so here's chart 11. I'm gonna show it to you on the screen. Once I introduce you, you'll be like, oh yeah, I think I remember that.
We do remember that. Remember it. And it's really easy. Well, I do now. Oh yeah.
Okay, here's chart 11. So I'll go through the sounds today. You don't have to say it today. I just want to introduce it. We are doing some of the sounds on the chart, but I just want to introduce it. Okay, so let's begin. Oh, I'm gonna go through it. O says in shovel. A says in banana. C says in city. U says in faucet. W says in saw. A says in leaf. A says in thread. EA says a in steak. IE says e in brownie. EY says e in key. EY says a in obey. PH says in phone. CH says in chorus. OUGHT says oughts in thoughts. AUGHT says oughts in cots. G says j in giant. DGE says j in fudge. No, that's her. Okay, so
What's
this
the fudge?
is fudge. What you said?
A fudge.
It's like a chocolate bar, kind of, just thicker.
Like a fudge chocolate?
Yeah, it's just like a lot of chocolate together. Okay, sorry.
Definitely not going on. Like chocolate fudge?
Yeah. 4. And don't forget your Greek and Latin up there. You can use your color pencils. Okay, so let's go ahead and discuss our first 3 sounds off of chart 11, which are O that says A that says and we'll talk about this C here. Okay, so the O and the A on chart 11 both say that's what they say. Remember, your screens are on. We're supposed to be on. Thank you. If they keep going off, I'm going to take you out of the meeting. Okay, so O says A says and then we have C that says like in city. Okay, now we know the letter C also has another sound and it says right. C also says so C can say C can also say which is like an S sound, but you only use that C at certain times. Okay. All right, so if you look at this here, I have the C, and look how I have E, I, and Y connected to it. Anytime, if you remember when we did the CK, we said C goes with, K goes with I and E, C goes with the other three, A, O, and U. So if you remember, the regular sound C that says goes with A, O, and U sounds. Now this C, if you see the C with an E, an I, or a Y, because sometimes we have words that will have an E, I, or Y near the C. It will not have an A, O, or U. Anytime it has an E, I, or Y next to the C, it will say, okay? So again, anytime you see the letter C, a word that has the letter C and it says, it has an E, I, or Y, the C will say, for example, let's look at this word here. Okay, look at this word here. We have C and it's near an E. So that means the C will say what? Who knows what this word is? What is it?
Cents.
Cents. Like when we say 20 cents, cents. Okay, look at this one. We have another C, and this C is by an I. Remember, if it's by an E, I, or Y, it says. So what would this word be here? This word here, Amina?
Decide.
Decide. Good. So cent, decide. So anytime your C goes by an E, I, or Y, it will say.
And I?
Yeah, E, I, or Y. It will say. Okay, is everyone listening?
Yes.
I don't know. It doesn't seem like it.
I was listening.
So C goes by E, I, and Y. If the C has an E, an I, or a Y behind it or near it, it will say. So now let's focus on our other sounds. We have O that says and A that says Look at this word here. Anybody would like to tell me how to mark the sounds? Go ahead. The R. O that says and the word. What's the word? Brother. We hear that O, brother. Next one here. Okay. Thank you, Harlem.
O.
O-R.
O-R.
And remember, O that A that says
A.
Good. A that says the word is what?
Gorilla.
Gorilla. Good. So we did scent already with the C. Let's look at this one. What's the sound here?
Circle O.
O. What's the word?
Love.
Love. Oh, love has that O that says Next one.
I don't know this word.
No.
What is
not.
compass? No.
All right. Let me just start calling names. I think that works better for me. Okay, Solomon, go ahead. What's the sound I have to circle in here?
O.
No, it doesn't say This O doesn't say
Circle C.
It only is a special sound C if it's by an E, R, or Y. So this C will say regular sound. A, you will circle A that says What's the word?
Compass.
Compass. A compass.
Compass.
Come on, next word. What are the sounds?
Circle C.
C. What's the word?
Decide.
Decide. Thank you. So this is O, A, and C that says okay. The first three sounds on chart 11. Okay. So yesterday we also learned a new way to divide a syllable. So looking at the words, how would I divide this one? What are the rules for dividing this one here? Lyric? What are the rules for dividing this one?
That
Where
one
would I divide it? Put the line.
between the two keys.
Between the double letters, the word is butter. Next one here, where am I dividing this one? Omar, where am I dividing this one? You're on mute.
ING.
Between the H and ING, wishing. And then this one, this is our new one we learned yesterday. Where am I going to divide this one here? Serenity.
Wait, you're calling names?
Yeah, there we go.
Circle with the
No circle, I'm putting a line to divide. Where would I put the line to divide it?
BR.
No, anyone knows where I would put a line to divide this word here? So we learned yesterday. So we said divide between double letters, between a root word and a suffix. Where, Mina?
Between by and bold.
I and B, yes, between the vowel and consonant. That's what we learned yesterday. We can divide between a vowel and consonant. So their vowel is I, consonant is B. So the word is by, bold. Awesome.
The word.
Get out your phonics and language book so I can do the dictation with you.
92 students.
93. Mm-hmm.
Buffalo. Miss Fluten says Dad will what? Dad will break his leg. Huh?
That's okay.
Say Dad.
All right, your dictation on 93 at the bottom.
Dad will what? Dictation. Dad will blank. Done. On.
Not 4 plus 4. It's Corey, who's one person, plus his 4 friends. 4 plus 4 is not 8. That's not correct. Yes.
What page is it on?
Page 93.
92.
Page 93. All right, let's go ahead and go over our first. So we're writing the entire word. Good.
Yay.
All right, the first word is dusty. 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 Okay, how do we write dusty? Go ahead.
D-U-S-T-Y.
D-U-S-T-Y, dusty. Next word, hardest. Hardest.
Now I got the word. Hardest, Miss Cleveland. I got it.
Hardest, like that is the hardest piece of bread I've ever eaten.
Oh, now this one's really, really. This is the hardest thing I ever seen. Hard. Oh! Stop gasping. Man, it's gonna make us straight. It's gonna make us straight.
Hardest. Okay, go ahead, Harlem. Hardest.
Hardest.
Good. Hardest. Someone call my name? No? Okay. Next one. Softly. 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 A lot of suffixes at the end of those words. Softly.
Miss Lucas, what was the word again? Softly. What's that? Just a moment. No moment. Miss Blue Jets.
Okay, softly. Omar, can you tell us softly? Spell softly for us.
Softly.
Thank you, softly. Okay, next we have the sentence underneath. All you have to do is fill in what's missing. So I will read the sentence and you have to write the words that are missing. Okay, I will say it 2 times. So you will start to see this on your phonics test. Dad will shave his beard. Dad will shave his beard. You fill in what's missing. Dad will shave his beard.
Wait, beard?
Yeah, beard.
That's funny. Is it funny to me? Dad will shave a black beard. The test is tomorrow. The test is after tomorrow. Yes, it is tomorrow.
Okay, so what words were missing? Camille, what words are missing?
Shave and beard.
Okay, how should we spell shave? How should we spell shave? Yeah, Camille, yeah, it's still you.
SHAVE.
Okay, and then what was the other word that was missing? Camille, it's still you. I'm still on you. So what was the other word that was missing?
Beard.
Okay, how do we spell beard?
BEARD.
So, 1 So just E-A-R-D. Yes. Okay, so beard had that E-A-R sound in there. E-A-R, that's his ear, beard. Good. So like I said, you'll start to see this on your phonics test where you have to fill in the missing parts of the sentence. Good. Okay, so that's our dictation for today. All right, so that's our phonics lesson. Let's go ahead and let's move on to math. We have a couple of new things we're learning today.
Get the book.
Not today, no. So we learned our days of the week and our months of the year. And now when we learn the months, I did tell you that each month has a number, right? Because we have 12 months in a year. January is the first month, so that means January is number one. All of the months have a number. So today in math, we are learning how to write what's called the digital date. So we already know how to write the date already. We always put the day of the week first, the month, the number, and the year. That's what we were supposed to have been practicing, how to write the date correctly. So every time you write dates, like so today is Tuesday, October 26th, 2021. Well, is everyone familiar with how to write the date?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes?
Yes.
We should be, yeah. Okay. If not, then practice. So yeah, so today we're going to learn how to write the date an easier way, which is called the digital date. What that means is writing the date using only numbers. So instead of writing all those words for the date, you can write it in numbers now. Okay? So again, remember each month has a number. This is going to be so important to know and remember when transforming the date from written letters to digital. Okay? Is everyone focused and listening?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm trying to make sure because I don't see all eyes on the screen. They're like everywhere else. Okay, so let's look at January, for example. Okay, January we know is the first month. Look at that, number 1. February would be the what?
Second.
So it'll be number
2.
March is the 3rd month, so it will be number
3.
April is the 4th month, so it'll be number
4.
May is the 5th month, so it'll be number
5.
June is the 6th month, so it'll be number
6.
You gotta match it to make it work. July is the 7th month, so it'll be number
7.
August is the 8th month, so it'll be number
8.
September is the 9th month, so it'll be number October is the 10th month, so it'll be number
10.
November is the 11th month, so it'll be number
11.
December is the 12th month, so it'll be number
12.
So this you have to remember. Okay. All right. So look here, I have some dates up here, as you can see. So I have October 26, 2021, July 9th, 2004, December 31st, 2012. So whenever we are writing the digital date, we can only do the digital date when it comes to the month, the day number that we're on, and the year. We can't do it for the day of the week, okay? You can't do it for the day of the week. So usually when you have a date like this, you can turn it into a digital date, which means digital means numbers. You can turn the date into numbers. So I'll show you how to do that with today's date, October 26th. So the first thing you have to do is pay attention to your month. This is also important to follow the order, because if you get something mixed up, it'll mess up and it will not be the correct date. So you always start with the month first. So October is what number month? Count it if you need to. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. Count. What number is October? What month is it? It's the what?
11.
Not 11. Not 11th. Count again. January's first. Say the rest of them till you get to October. Lyric, what you have? Yes, it's the 10th month. So the first thing I do when transforming the letters, the written way into digital, I say 10. This 10 lets me know that this is October. That's why I said it's important to know the number of the month, because you're going to have to change from October into the number, which is 10. October is the 10th month. After you write the 10, so you know how we usually put commas? We don't put commas this way. We put a line like this. Okay? So I have 10, which represents October. Now the rest of the part is this part. The next part is easy. What number?
26.
So I just put 26. So I put the month, then the day, the number of the day, I put another line. See that? So I have the month, October, the 10th month, the day, 26. Now I do the last part, which is the year. So now we are in 2021. There are two ways you can write the year. Okay? So I'll take either way, but I'm going to show you the way that I would prefer you to do. Okay? So we have 2021. Whenever you are writing the year on the date, you only put the last two numbers of the year. Only the last two. So that would mean I would put 21. 21.
Huh?
This is how, has anyone seen the date written down like this before?
No.
No, you haven't?
No.
Well, this is a new way to write the date. So this is what we'll start working on. So we have, can I finish? Okay. So we have the date written down normally like October 26, 2021. This is how we transform it into the digital date, meaning using only numbers. So we say, now it's the same exact thing. This is only using numbers. The hardest part is remembering what number the month is. That's going to probably be the hardest part of this, because you're going to have to count to make sure you have the correct number. Because see, this is October, but what if I would put 9? That would have been wrong, right? It wouldn't have matched this one here. So if I would have put a 9, I was saying this is September 26th when this is October 26th. So you have to make sure you know the number of the month, okay? So I took October, I turned it into a number, is the 10th month of the year. Then I put the number day we're on, the 26th. Then I put the last two numbers of the year, which is 21. So today's date is 10/26/21. Okay? How's that? Is it like, oh, Miss Bridges, that's kind of complicated? Or are you like, oh, I get it.
Great.
I got it.
Yeah? Okay? Let's do another one. So this is going to be a random date. So in your book, they'll just have all kind of different dates. It won't be like today's date. It usually won't be the same date. It's going to be something just totally different than what you normally have. Okay? Trying to get it to glare out. I'm pink. I like mud. I am a what? Okay? This one is July 9th, 2004. So let's turn this date here into digital date by numbers. So July, first thing we need to do is figure out what number month is July. Figure it out. So remember, January is your first month. Count all the way till you get to July. What number month is July? It's the what month? Okay, what you have?
7.
It's the 7th month. Is that what everyone was gonna say? 7th
Yes.
month. So we put our 7 to show July. Also put your line. Remember to put the line behind it to separate it. So this is the day, the month. What day are we on in July? What number day?
26. The 9th.
What?
Yes.
That's our day. Put the line to show that you're finished with that. And what would be the year? Oh man, this one's a little complicated. What would be the year? It's 2004, but how do I write it when I put it down here?
Oh, no.
I know.
Okay, Camille, what you have?
Put the 0 and the 4.
04, which says 04.
Oh, I thought it was 20.
No, it's the last two numbers. So so July 9th, 2004 turned into 7904. Yeah?
Oh, 4.
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at this one. We have December 31st, 2012. December 31st, 2012. Let me make sure you did math, writing, finance, language. Yeah. Okay. Let's transform it. First thing I need to do, you tell me, what do I do to turn this into the digital date? Let's see. Go ahead, Josiah. What's the first thing I do?
Put the number of the month.
Okay, so correct. So December is the what month?
12.
Good, the 12th month. And I put my line to separate it. Okay, who can tell me what's next? So I put December 12th. Thank you, Josiah. What's the next step I take? First, put the day, which is the 31st. Line to separate it. Then what's the last thing that I do? Amina?
12.
Put the last two numbers of the year, which is 12. 12, 31, 12. Wow. Yep. All right. Okay. Does everyone have a paper? I need you to get a listening paper ready.
Not yet.
A notebook. Because you're gonna write some of them down. Did anybody do their math page already today? And you did it on the page, or you were kind of waiting for the lesson?
I already did it. Next, do I have to do?
Spelling 4 times. No, that book can't look like that. You have to put that there.
Use the notebook. I am. Oh. Get a paper too. Get a paper too.
No, use your notebook.
Yeah,
Okay, are we ready? So I'm gonna put a date, and I want you to change it into digital. No. Okay, go ahead. So this is August 17th, 2002. Turn this into a digital date. August 17th, 2002. Then I ask you to show me.
It's really so easy. I did an explosion.
Yeah, just wait. What's the problem?
I can't remember like the other.
Start with the month. What number is the month?
This was all I had to do was just look up
January
there.
1st. So say the months all the way till you get to August. Use your fingers so you know how many.
This was all I had to do.
August, January, February, March. You don't know the order of the months? Look over there.
That's what I did.
So you don't know the order of the month?
What page?
It's on list 18, page 18. Not quite.
Wait, I just need 7.
Okay, let's see what you have. Show me on the screen. Let's see how many people have it correct. Okay, I see it. Wow, that is big. Okay. Yeah.
This 18.
Okay, good. I'm seeing everybody's. Well, some people didn't put anything up, but okay.
Oh, good.
Okay, so let's go ahead. Would anybody like to tell me what should it read? If I took this and turned it into digital, what should it say? Go, okay, Lyric, I see. All right, go ahead, Harlan. What should it say?
August 17th,
2002. So how do I turn it into digital? What will it say? What's the numbers?
8.
8. August is the 8th month. Next.
The 17.
17. Good. That's the day. And then what do I put for the year?
02.
02. Good.
I just did
8/17/02. We always take the month, turn it into a number. All right, let's do another one.
Yay. I love doing it. March.
Okay, ready? March 1st, 2018.
That's going to be easy.
March 1st, 2018.
You know this one. Still writing.
Okay. So now you know your month.
I found it on my. Miss Fluges, after the Zoom, could I get a piece of paper and write it all down? The whole month.
Okay, let's see. Okay, you got them mixed up.
Wait, I can't see.
Okay, good. Remember I said month, date, year.
Did I do it right first?
Mhm.
Yay.
Good, looks right. Okay, all right. So remember it's month, date, year. That's why I said if you break that order, the date won't be correct. So if you would have put the 1 first, you're saying that's January. And it's not. Okay, who can tell me how do I write March 1st, 2018? Solomon, how do I write it?
March is 3.
3.
It would be 1.
3, 1.
And then it would be 18.
18, year, month, date, year. Awesome. Okay, so who feels like they understand?
I understand.
I
Like
do.
not quite.
Not quite. I understand.
Okay, awesome. So you will start to see that in your book now. It will ask you to write the digital date, and that's all you have to do is transform the date written down into numbers, digital. All right, can someone count the tally marks for us right here?
Count by 10. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30.
Okay.
35.
Singles.
Oh.
31.
31, 32, 33.
Good, 33 tally marks. So remember, tally marks, anytime you have 5, you put that cross. That makes it easier to count them. Whenever it's by themselves, you just put the single ones like this. Awesome. All right. So 87 cents. How many dimes? How many pennies would I have in 87 cents? How many dimes? How many pennies, Harlow?
8 dimes. And 7 pennies.
Good. 6 pennies and 3 dimes. How much money is that? 6 pennies, 3 dimes. How much money? Mina?
6 pennies.
How much money? Together, 6 pennies and 3 dimes. Not 63. 36 cents. That was a trick. Pay attention. Pennies go in the back. Dimes go in the front. 36. How many people are going to say 63?
Not me. No. How are you tricking us?
Well, you got to just pay attention. Okay, how much is 9 nickels? Yesterday we practiced nickels. We count by 5.
I know it.
How much are 9 nickels?
I know it. No. How much is nickels? I don't know.
Anybody? How much money is 9 nickels? Harlan raises his hand every time. Thank you so much, Harlan.
I was raising my hand.
Solomon?
45 cents.
45 cents. Awesome.
I knew that. How much is nickels again?
5 cents.
Okay.
35 plus 10. What will that equal to? 35 plus 10 more will equal 45. 71 plus 10 will equal how much? Brian? 8. Go to the next 10 with a 1.
70.
71 was 10 more than 71. If 10 more than 70 is 80, then 10 more than 71 is
77.
Anybody? Josiah? 10 more than 71? That's okay.
81.
81. So remember, it's always like by the 10s. 71, 81, 91, and so on. 19 plus 10. 19 plus 10. What would that be? 19 and 10.
I know.
Solomon?
29 cents.
29. Good. Thank you.
Didn't know.
All right.
Easy.
So I want to introduce something new to you on today. A new type of graph. So we've learned how to do a bar graph where we just shade in. We know a bar graph already.
Yep.
And we learn a pictograph where we use a picture to fill in the graph. Today we're going to learn a different type of graph. It is called a Venn diagram. Okay? Has anyone seen a graph like this before?
No.
Okay, this is a new type of graph that we're learning, a Venn diagram. This type of graph is usually used, it is to collect data just like all the rest of the graphs, but it's usually used whenever you are picking between 2 options of something, okay? So whenever you are picking between 2 things, you'll use a Venn diagram most of the time, okay? So like, for example, we're gonna do one as a class, okay? So we're going to ask, what is which favorite fruit, okay?
I know.
So we're gonna vote as a class. Hopefully people raise their hand to vote.
I am raising
I know.
oranges.
So favorite fruit, okay? So we are going to have oranges here, and then we'll have apples. Now, this is the thing. You can pick oranges, or you can pick apples, or you can pick both. If you say, y'all gonna let me do it or what? If you say, I like both, but if you prefer one over the other, then you pick the one that you prefer. But if you like both, let me know. So hands down right now. So we'll start with oranges. How many people say they only like oranges? That's it. Only oranges. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3. 3 people said they only like oranges. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I counted you. Next, apples. Who says that they only like apples? That's it.
It says they only.
Only, no.
Oh.
1, 2.
2.
And then who says that they like both? They're like, I could do both.
No, yeah.
Okay, 1. Well, you can only vote 1 time. 1,
I never did.
2, 3, 4. Even though it wasn't everyone, but okay. So 4. So we have 3 people said they only like oranges. 2 people said they only like apples. And 4 people said they like both. Now look at this graph. There's something different. We have a middle section here.
Yeah.
This middle section on a Venn diagram means bold. So on a Venn diagram, you'll have one side of the circle that is for only one particular thing. Like oranges, there's only 3. Screens on, please. Thank you. Oranges, there's only 3. Then we have apples. Then this is the other side of the diagram that says only apples. There's 2. But then there's this middle. You see how the circles mix? That part means both because the circles are combined. It's saying that we like both. So that's what makes this diagram different than the others. You have a section for both. A lot of times our graphs, we have like one particular thing that you pick, but with this one, you have an actual part that says both. So tomorrow we'll practice some more in our book with it. I just wanted to introduce it today, and also how we answer the questions, because when they ask questions about Venn diagrams, it can be a little confusing. So tomorrow, if you do, for those who do their workbook pages before we get on Zoom, skip that part of the page tomorrow, because we'll do it in class tomorrow together, okay? For those that may work on their pages before we meet, skip the part with the Venn diagram because we'll do it together in person, okay? So I just wanted to introduce it today because you'll see it tomorrow in your book, and I don't want you to say, I don't know what that is. This is a Venn diagram. It's a graph where you can pick between 2 things or you pick both. The middle section means both. Okay? All right, awesome. So that is it for math. We learned a couple of things, digital date, practice a couple of things, and we learned a Venn diagram.
Miss Flugence?
Tomorrow, yeah, tomorrow. Yes, Harlem?
How many more stuff do we gotta do?
We have reading, language, 4. We have 4. All right, let's go ahead and move on to reading. We're reading about Pinocchio the rest of the week. Really long story, but it's a good story.
Miss Flugence.
Uh-huh.
When Pinocchio lies, doesn't his nose grow?
Oh, yes. Yes, it does. Whenever he's not telling the truth. 89. Yes. 89.
Yeah, Pinocchio. Pinocchio.
Yes, Lyric?
Here's the page.
89.
I'm on 89 with the cat on it, with the man on it. I can't remember. So he was just wood for a second, Miss Flugence, and they built him into a puppet? It's probably in your binder.
Page 89.
Miss Flugence, could I read?
Hold on.
Look at your books.
Okay, so we are going to read the story of Pinocchio, the puppet boy. So this is what we're reading the rest of the week. It's a pretty long story, but it's a good story. I like it. Okay, so Pinocchio, the puppet boy. Is everyone ready?
Yes.
All right, come on. Carly.
Can I read after?
All right, go ahead. Geppetto, that's his name. So that G word is Geppetto. That's the name, okay?
Geppetto was a wood
Carver.
carver. He lived in a small room with one window. In the room stood a chair, a bed, and a broken table. One day,
Geppetto.
Geppetto came home with a new piece of wood. He took his tools and began to carve a puppet. What name shall I give my puppet? Thought Geppetto.
Geppetto.
I need Geppetto.
Yeah, I know. It's a little hard.
As he carved first, Geppetto made the hair, then the forehead, and then I shall call you Pinocchio, said the kind man to the piece of wood. Then Geppetto went on with his work. He took his knife and made the nose and mouth.
Good. Okay, so we're introduced to Geppetto.
A quick question.
We're introduced to Geppetto, who's a wood carver. And Geppetto makes things out of wood. That's what a wood carver is. They carve things from wood. So he decides to make a puppet one day, right? So he's carving the puppet. He's thinking about what should he name him. And he decides to name his puppet what? Pinocchio. Okay, so he's carving Pinocchio up. Okay, 91. I'm going back and forth. Okay, Josiah.
After the mouth was finished, Geppetto made the chin, the throat, the arms, and the hands. Next, he carved the legs and the feet. When Geppetto stood Pinocchio on the floor, the puppet's legs were stiff. It could not move. Geppetto held Pinocchio gently by the hand. My little wooden son, he said, put one foot in front of the other. After a few moments, Pinocchio began to walk. Then he began to run. I can run, laughed Pinocchio. I can run anywhere. And then Pinocchio jumped through the open window and ran down the street.
Okay, so Geppetto finishes carving Pinocchio. He took time on each part of Pinocchio, the mouth, all of that. So Geppetto is trying to teach Pinocchio how to walk. At first, his legs were what? They were a little stiff. So Geppetto worked with him and said, just how did he tell him to do what? How should he walk? Put one foot in front of the other. So did Pinocchio learn how to walk?
Yeah.
And eventually he did what?
Ran
He ran so much he ran away, pretty much away. Now Pinocchio is wrong for that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Pinocchio jumps out the window and runs away. Okay, Lyric? 92. Oh, I forgot. It's okay, I had already said. 92?
Come back, Pinocchio. All the screams. Geppetto. Come back, Pinocchio. Run and jump over hills and get across
Bridges?
bridges at late. At last he
Trudged
home. The door was open. Pinocchio walked in and looked. The door he was so
and IRE says ire.
higher. What he
THR and EW.
he threw his
92. Himself.
himself in the floor to rest.
Crit, I guess, yeah.
The
Voice.
Said the voice. Pinocchio jumped to his feet. All his walking.
Good. Okay. So Pinocchio jumps out. Good, Larry. He jumps out of the house, starts to run. When Geppetto calls him, does he go back home?
Yes. No.
No, he did not. He kept running, right? And he ran a lot. He jumped over things, all of that. Okay. So at last, Pinocchio went back home. He comes in and he was so tired, right? He was so tired. So then he hears a voice speaking to him. Okay, 93. Go ahead, Amina, because you had us. She had us before you.
Said the cricket. I have lived with your father, Geppetto, for a long time. He is out searching for you now. Please do not run away from him again. But I must leave tomorrow morning, said Pinocchio. If I stay here, I shall have to go to school. I don't want to study. It is much more fun to chase butterflies and climb trees. Not to go to school, replied the cricket. You will grow up to be a perfect donkey.
That's
Everyone will make fun of you.
Good. Okay, you can stop there. Okay, so who was speaking to Pinocchio? It was
The
who?
cricket.
The cricket.
Cricket.
Right? And so the cricket told Pinocchio not to do what? Run away. He said, your father Geppetto is looking for you now. And so the cricket tells Pinocchio that he needs to go where? Now, does Pinocchio want to go to school? No. What does he prefer doing? Running, chasing butterflies, climbing trees. Now, I don't know if that's a wise thing that Pinocchio wants to do. He wants to chase butterflies instead of going to school. Not a good idea, right? So the cricket tells him that's not good because what will he grow up to be?
A donkey.
Now you think Pinocchio wants to become a donkey?
No.
Well, we don't know. He might. All right.
That's really funny.
93. Then I won't. We're still on 93. Can you turn my ear because they can't hear?
Then I won't.
Miss Rose, you're quiet.
I won't worry, said Pinocchio. But as Pinocchio told that life, his nose started to grow. Pinocchio had eaten something began to have
94.
strange feeling in his stomach. He went around the room looking for food. He looked in cupboards. There must be at least a crust somewhere, thought Pinocchio. But he could find nothing at all. You were right, cried Pinocchio. I should not have run away from my home. Then my father would be here. Now it is dreadful to be hungry. Pinocchio left the house to beg for food. It was a stormy night. The wind was blowing.
Good. So Pinocchio, he goes back home. Well, he tells the cricket he won't run away again, right? But whenever he said that, what happened to his nose? It grew, which meant that Pinocchio was what? He was not telling the truth. So now, how does Pinocchio feel? He has a feeling in his stomach. What is he feeling?
He's hungry.
He's hungry, right? And so now he's looking for food all over the place. Did he find anything?
No.
He did not. So he's like, I shouldn't have run away from home. So now he leaves home and now what does he have to do for food?
Bad.
Now he's begging for food.
That's really bad.
All right, Solomon.
The streets were dark all night. Shops were closed.
I told you
At
twice.
last, Pinocchio went back home. He was afraid of the vendor. He was wet. He was tired and hungry. He sat down in front of the fireplace to dry his wet. Then he fell asleep. Pinocchio woke up early too. The next morning, someone was knocking on the door. Who is there? Pinocchio asked, yelling and rubbing his eyes. It's I, answered GP. Pinocchio
Geppetto.
jumped up and started for the door. He stumbled. He got up again. He fell on a flat floor.
Okay, so Pinocchio, he couldn't find food, right? So he goes back home. Now he's hungry and he's tired. So he sits and he was cold because he got wet. So he sleeps in front of the fireplace, right? So he wakes up early in the morning. And so who was back home? Geppetto, his father, right? So Pinocchio's so excited. But when he gets up, he falls down. Let's see what happened on 96. Okay, somebody didn't go yet? No?
I want to go.
All right, go ahead, Harlem.
Please open the door, called Geppetto.
Geppetto.
Geppetto,
Five, six, five.
Papa, I cannot. Cried Pinocchio. My feet have been eaten. Who has eaten your feet? Asked
Geppetto.
Geppetto. The cat, Pinocchio replied. He had seen a cat playing with some shavings. He thought she had eaten his feet. Geppetto climbed up the side of the house and came in through the window. He saw Pinocchio lying on the floor without any feet. Geppetto took Pinocchio up in his arms. My poor little Pinocchio, he said, your feet has been burnt. Oh, Papa, cried Pinocchio, it was a terrible night. I went out to beg for something to eat. But I came home again wet, tired, and hungry. I sat down in front of the fire to dry my feet. I must have had them too close to the fire.
Thank you.
When I fell asleep, now I have no feet, and I am still hungry.
Dennis. Okay, so Papa, him and Geppetto talk, and so when Geppetto couldn't get up because what was wrong with his feet? They were gone, right? So at first he thought it was who?
The
Thought
cat,
it was the cat that took his feet, but it wasn't the cat. What happened when he fell asleep by the fire? What
the
happened?
fire burnt his feet.
They burned his feet. Oh, so now he can't run away though. So I mean, he can. It's true. It's not a lie. Yeah. So Pinocchio is just really sad. He's like, "Oh, Papa, I don't have any feet, and I'm hungry." So you see, you should have just stayed home, right? And none of this would have happened. Yep. Okay. Let's look at 97. Anybody who didn't read would like to go? It was, but it's okay. Oh, okay. No, it's good. It's good.
But I'm gonna take you.
Okay. All right. Who didn't read yet?
Can I go?
Okay, go ahead, Omar. 97.
Geppetto took 3 pears from his pocket. These were from my bread. These were for my breakfast. He said, "You may eat them." Pinocchio was no longer hungry, but he began to cry again. He wanted a new pair of feet. "Why should I make you new feet?" asked Geppetto. Without feet, you cannot run away from home again." "I will always be good," sobbed Pinocchio. "All boys promise that when they want something," replied Geppetto. "I will even go to school and study," said Pinocchio without saying another.
Good. Okay, good. Thank you. So now after this happens, Geppetto feeds him. What does he feed Pinocchio?
A pear.
Some pears, right? And so Pinocchio now has food, but he wanted feet now. Now Geppetto's like, "Pinocchio, I shouldn't make you any feet because when I did, you ran away." But Pinocchio promises. What does he promise to do? Not to run away and to be good, right? And his nose doesn't grow, right? So that means maybe he was telling the truth. He said, "I'll go to school and I'll stay home." Let's see on 98.
Is he going to turn into a donkey?
Yes.
We'll see.
I know. Cause I read it.
Okay, 98. Josiah, did you read yet? I was trying to give everybody a chance who didn't go, but go ahead, Josiah. It was good. 98.
Geppetto got out 2 small pieces of wood in less than an hour. The feet were finished. "Close your eyes and go to sleep, Geppetto," said to Pinocchio. Well, Pinocchio was asleep. Geppetto fastened the feet on a white with a little glue. As soon as Pinocchio woke and saw his feet, he jumped down from the table. He leaped around the room. "Now I will go to school," said Pinocchio, "but I first need some clothes."
Okay, good. So Geppetto fixes Pinocchio's feet because Pinocchio said that he would not run away. So Pinocchio's excited. He wakes up and what's the first thing he says? That he's gonna what?
Go to school.
He's gonna go to school. He just needed some clothing. Okay, 99.
We're almost done with this book.
Yeah, this is our last page today.
Hey. Oh.
Mhm.
Because I never watched the movie.
Geppetto.
Geppetto was so poor that he did not have even a penny, but he made Pinocchio some cloth and clothes and a cap from pretty wallpaper. Then he stuck a feather in the cap. Pinocchio ran to look at himself in a pail of water. He was so pleased with how he looked that he strutted all around the room. "I look just like a gentleman," said Pinocchio.
Good. Okay, so Geppetto didn't have any money to make Pinocchio clothing, but he ended up making him some clothes and some wallpaper. So Pinocchio's excited. He's like, "Man, I look good. I'm ready to go to school." This is where we'll stop. So tomorrow we'll pick up and see if Pinocchio actually goes to school or not.
It's really a good story.
And what happens? Yes, it's a good story. It's long, but it's a good story. Okay, awesome. So that is our story on Pinocchio. How he was made by his father Geppetto. He ran away. He was hungry and tired. Feet were burned. but now he promises that he's gonna be a good boy. We'll see. All right, let's go ahead and do science and social studies, then we'll be done. Go ahead and get out your science. Yes, Solomon?
It looks like there's more pages.
There's look like what?
It looks like there's more pages.
Yeah, of this story? Oh yeah, there's a lot. Okay, let's go to 35. So week before last, we introduced the plants. Our new chapter is on plants, and we have 4 parts of the plant. So we're gonna start to break down each part and their job. So this week we're focusing on the flower and the stem part of the plant. Yeah, I'll let you guys read today. 35. Yeah, but I'm just giving everybody time first. Okay, so we'll start with flowers. I didn't say yes. I didn't even answer. I'm not going. Super long.
When did school start?
In August.
So how many days a month or years or whatever has it been?
2 months, almost 3.
Oh my. 2 months and it's 60 or 61 days.
Huh?
Because a month is sometimes 30 or 31 days. Look at this book. Sometimes.
All right. Flowers. Okay, so let's talk about the flower part of a plant and what is the flower's job?
Flowers are usually the most colorful part of the planet. Some flowers smell very sweet. Can you think of a flower that has a sweet smell? Some plants are not purple and do not have any smell, but they still have flowers. The flower's job is to make seeds. All flowers have pollen. Pollen is needed to help the flower make seeds. Most pollen needs to travel from one plant to another. How can the pollen travel? Some pollen can be carried by the wind, but most pollen travels with the help of the insects.
Awesome, okay? So the flower part is usually the most colorful part. That's the part that when we look at a flower, we say, oh, that's so beautiful. That's the flower part of the plant. That's also the part that we usually smell. It smells so good. I don't know if you smelled flowers before.
I did.
But some flowers smell really, really good. Okay? The flower's main job is to make seeds. Now, that's important because if there's no seed, nothing can grow, no flower, right? Nothing. So the flower's job is to make seeds. How? All of the flowers have what's called pollen. Pollen is needed to help the flower make the seeds. If there's no pollen, the flowers will not be pollinated. So pollen will travel. And that's what we're about to talk about next. How does pollen travel? Okay. Some pollen is carried by the wind. So I don't know if you've ever heard where they say the pollen count is really high. Have you heard someone say that before?
No.
No.
Usually when allergies get really bad, like especially in the springtime, that's usually because of the pollen in the air. And the pollen in the air messes with people sometimes, like their nose gets stopped up, you might catch headaches, but that's the pollen. But the pollen is needed because pollen helps the plants to grow. So pollen sometimes travels by wind and sometimes insects place the pollen in different plants. Let's look at 36. Okay, how does the honeybee help the plant world? So let's talk a little bit more about this pollen. Okay, go ahead, Harlem.
Bees gather sweet nectar from the flower. They use the nectar to make honey. When a bee lands on a flower, pollen from the flower sticks to their hair on the bee's hind legs. A little pollen falls off its legs onto the next flower. It visits. This pollen helps the flower make seeds.
Good. Okay. So this is how insects like a bee help. So there's nectar inside of the flower. So the bees use the nectar that they get to make honey. So you see how it all works together? So a bee will land on a flower. They will drink the nectar from that flower. But when the bee lands on the flower, there's pollen. So if you have a flower, in your backyard or something, pull a flower and you'll be able to see the pollen in there. It looks like powder. That's the pollen. So when a bee lands on a flower, that pollen will stick to his legs because bees' legs are hairy. And so whenever the pollen sticks to their legs, a bee will go from one flower to the next. And whenever he goes to the next flower, guess what he's dropping inside of the flower? The pollen. So when he's dropping that pollen in each plant is getting pollen and they're able to pollinate and be able to make more plants, make seeds and do everything that it needs to do. This pollen helps the flower to make seeds. So when a bee passes the pollen from one plant to the other, he's helping the flower to make seeds. So imagine if bees did not exist. Do you think it would work that easy? No, because it's nothing that we have to do. The bees do it. Have you ever seen a bee before?
Yes.
Yeah, and you'll see them flying a lot of times. Sometimes they're just flying randomly, but sometimes they'll be flying in flowers. You'll see them sometimes. That's because they're helping to pollinate the flowers. Not only that, the bee is getting the nectar to go make honey in their hive. So the bee thinks that I'm just getting nectar, but really and truly, the bee is helping the flowers to pollinate. And the Lord made it like that. So if you see a bee, if it's not threatening you, don't kill the bee. Leave the bee alive, okay?
Why don't we have to kill the bee?
Just don't. Now, if you're messing with him and he stings you, that's on you. But you don't want to mess with the bee. You don't want to disturb them, especially when they're like pollinating the flowers, because we need bees. So don't, step on them or anything, spray it or something, okay?
Why can't we step on a bee?
I just said why. They help to pollinate the flowers. And so we need them for that. Yeah, they're useful. So that's why. If they're not disturbing you, then leave them.
Yeah.
Okay, 37. Let's talk a little bit more about the bees. The bees that help pollinate the flowers. Let's see. I'm going to let Solomon go. You do the next one. All right, Solomon, go ahead. 37.
Bees live in work hives. The worker bee protects the hive. If any enemy bothers the hive, the workers will sting the enemy, even if the enemy is bee. When the stingers, she pushes her stingers into the enemy, but when she tries to pull her stinger out, she tears the stingers in that part of her body. She then dies without bees. We would not have many kinds of food if we eat the bees tiny, but God gave it a big job to do.
Good, okay? So the bees, they live and work inside of their hive, right? Has anyone seen a beehive before?
No.
Yes.
No?
Wait, I saw two before.
Yes.
One time, just random, one time we had a beehive that was inside of my room. Like it was inside of the house. Yeah, so we had to get it out of the house and everything. We had to remove it. But anyway, because once they start to make a hive, they make the hive. So bees live and work in their hive. I told you they get nectar from the plants. They bring the nectar inside of their hive, and that's how they make honey. So I don't know if you like honey, but you know, yeah. So the worker bee is who protects the hive. So all those bees we usually see out flying, those are the worker bees, and they have stingers. Now, of course, they'll only sting if they feel an enemy is trying to threaten them. Bees will not just sting you just because. They'll sting you usually if you're trying to threaten them. Has anyone been stung by a bee before? Yeah.
No, my dad did.
Well, I haven't. It stings. It does. So yes, now the unfortunate part about a bee stinging is that they have this stinger on their tails, like their abdomens. And when they sting someone, unfortunately, once they pull the sting, they pull away, they die. They're gonna die after they sting someone. She tears the stinger, and the stinger is a part of the body. Or he tear, you know. So that's why we also say if you don't annoy them, because when they sting, they die, and we don't want them to die, right?
Why?
So, but sometimes they have to sting because they have to protect. So after they sting, though, they do die. So that's kind of sad for bees that after they sting. So we have honeybees, we have carpenter bees as well. Those are those big ones. Have you seen those big? Like they're like really fat
Yes.
bees. I have a
Yes.
bunch of those. I'm gonna try to catch one. My dog catches them all the time.
No.
I'll try to catch one so that I'm gonna see if I see them today this afternoon. Yeah, I'm gonna catch it. These are the carpenter bees. They're a little different. They actually eat wood, and they make holes in your
Are you
wood.
gonna show us tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll take a video of it if I see one when I go back home. So yeah, so we also have like those big carpenter bees. There are wood bees, but they're like really big. Some people say bumblebees. They're really big. Okay, so without bees, we wouldn't have plants, right? We wouldn't have flowers without bees. We would not. So we have to thank the Lord that he gave us bees, because the bees think that they're just getting nectar, and really and truly the bees are helping the plants to pollinate. So if the bees didn't help the plants pollinate, we would have no flowers. So the bees think they're getting nectar, but instead they're actually transferring the pollen from their legs from plant to plant to plant. So bees are cool. So what is the flower's main job? To do what?
Make seeds.
To make seeds, right? And how does the honeybee help plants? By placing the pollen from plant to plant. And what unfortunately happens to a bee when they sting you?
Die.
They
Yes.
die.
What do bees get from a plant?
Pollen.
No.
Sweet
Nectar. And what does the nectar turn into inside of their hive? Honey. Okay. All right. Let's go to 38. Talk about stems. Yeah, I told y'all we were gonna be long. Well, we're like normal time today. So, okay, stems.
Okay. The stem is the part of the plant that holds the leaves and the flowers. The stem also brings water and nutrients from the root to the leaves and flowers. There are many different kinds of stems. Vines are stems that climb. These stems need something to hold on.
Good. Okay, so I told you whenever we had first talked about stems, the stem is kind of like a straw. Remember, the root's job is to get water and nutrients. Well, the stem's job is to transfer those water and nutrients to other parts of the plant. So plants are able to have water and nutrients all throughout the plant because of the stem. The stem is also like the thing that holds the leaves and the flowers together, right? Have you ever had a plant and you broke the stem? You ever did that before? Well, yeah, the plant is no good after that, right? The plant is no good. That stem is like the roots are the foundation, but the stem is the next part that holds the flower and the leaves together. The leaves are connected to the stem. The flower grows out of the stem. So the job of the stem is to transfer water and nutrients to different parts of the plant, to the roots, leaves, and flowers. So the stem kind of acts like a straw, right? So it sucks up the water and nutrients, gives it to the leaves, gives it to the flowers, which helps the plant to grow. Now, there's another kind of stem, which is like a vine. Has anyone seen a vine before? Usually grapes grow from a vine.
Oh, now I know.
Yeah, like vines grow differently than a stem. Okay, let me show you out here. I'm gonna show you real quick if you haven't seen. Cause yeah, usually vines, you know, you might see them sometimes. Turn around. Yeah, I'm gonna show it. Okay, so this is how vines grow. They are stems, but they climb. So that's what makes vines a little different. A stem just stays, you know, straight up. But vines, I'm pulling it up for y'all. Okay, so here we go. This is a vine, if you haven't seen a vine before. Okay, so you see how it's all over the building? That's a vine.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so you might have you seen something like this before somewhere?
No.
This is a vine. So vines are stems, but they climb. They climb on stuff like this. Okay, so usually grapes grow from vines. That's a fruit that grows from a vine, grapes.
Oh, they turn into an old building that vines climb on it.
Yeah, so vines are also stems, but they're stems that climb. So if you look at it, they have something to do. You can do that on your own time. It tells you to circle the stem. The stem is the part that holds the flower and the plant. The flower and the leaf part together. A stem's job is to transfer water and nutrients to all the other parts of the plant. So let's look at 39. Yeah, that's the leaf. Oh, yeah, the thing. 39. Let's talk about the largest stem in the world. Go ahead, Lyric.
Did you know that a tree
Trump.
trunk is
Branches.
branches and it wheels are all part of the string of a tree.
Trunk.
A tree trunk is the largest
Stem.
stem in the
Plant.
world.
Good. Awesome. So whenever we look at trees, so we know the tree trunk, right? That part of the tree. That's actually the stem of the tree. A tree trunk is a stem. And so a tree trunk is also the largest stem in the plant world. So, and whenever we say, I'm going to ask that on the test, what's the largest stem, you're going to say a tree trunk. So the tree trunk is actually the stem part of a plant. We just don't call it a stem. We call it, we call it a tree trunk, but it's actually a stem. Okay. So that's it for science this week. We have a little something to try. You can do this at home. We may do it here in class as well. So what you have to do is you'll have some flowers, you cut it and you put it in a glass with food coloring, and it's cool what happens. So try it out. Okay, we may do that on Thursday. All right, so that's it for science on stems and flowers. Okay, let's go into social studies. I'll go over it so that we can go a little quicker. So in this lesson, not long today. So we've been talking about colonial times. Last time we talked about the colonial shops, the blacksmith, the silversmith, apothecary, the cooper, the cobbler, the joiner, right? So we're going to talk about schooling at that time, because the children did have school, but the colonial school times were a lot different than how we do school today. What? Oh, I'm gonna read it so we can go through it a little quicker. All right. So in colonial times, remember, they all lived in like little towns. I'm on page 57, sorry. They all lived in like these little towns. So sometimes the town was large enough where they could have a school. Sometimes the town was not that big enough and they wouldn't be able to have a school. The children would just learn at home with their parents. So in times where there was a school in a colonial time, we'll talk about, that's what we're going to say. So if a town was large enough, there was a school for the children to attend. Some towns were still growing. They did not have a school yet. Learning was very important to colonial families. Many of the colonial children were taught to read at home. So not only did the colonial children learn in school, but they most importantly learned at home. So their parents taught them how to read and how to do arithmetic, which is math, all of that at home. Most colonists were farmers. A lot of the adults who were in the colonies, they were farmers. That was their job. They did not have the machines like farmer. You know how you see, if you go on a farmer has a tractor and all of these tools. They didn't have all of that in colonial times. They usually had just their hands. So what they would do is they would have their children help them on the farms as well. So whenever the children had to help on the farm, they didn't go to school. And whenever that season was over, they would go to school. So the children would only go to schools during certain seasons, okay? Now, would you like that, or do you like going to school like this?
I like school like
Would you like going to school just certain seasons, or school how we normally do it from August until May? Is that what you prefer?
No. Yes.
Or certain seasons? Now, this means, though, if you say certain seasons, this means that you might have to go to school during like summer.
No.
So,
No.
yeah,
No.
so think about that. So the colonial children, though, that's how they went to school. It was during certain seasons. So harvest and spring planting were times when the colonial children did not go to school. So usually it was during the spring most of the time, and the harvest, which was in the fall. So that's usually when they did not go to school. Spring and fall was when they usually stayed home to help on the farm. When they were finished helping on the farm and that season was over, they would then go to school for those few months, okay? So there weren't many schools. Like how today we can ride around in the city and see a bunch of schools. It was not like that in colonial times. You would find a school every so often in a different town. You would find a school. And when there wasn't a school, the children would just learn at home. Okay? So parents in some areas of the southern colonies, like Georgia and North and South Carolina, you remember when we did the colonies? Some of them started to hire teachers for their children. Instead of the parents teaching them, they had someone come in at home to teach the children. Okay? So that's how it worked with their schooling season. They had seasons where they went to school. Sometimes, you know, they had to help on the farm and they would not go to school then, but as soon as they finished on the farm, they would then go to school. Okay, 58, let's talk about what their school looked like. So remember, there aren't cars and buses during the colonial days, so the children had to walk to school. Does anybody walk to school?
No, I go on the bus.
Well, yes. Whenever you were in school, did you walk? I'm sure no one walked to school. Well, they had to walk. And it wasn't like walk next door, walk maybe down the street. No, they would walk miles to get to school because they didn't have cars and buses. And they had to go to school. And so they would walk wherever they had to go. Learning was very important to the colonial families, especially reading and learning the Bible. So they didn't go to school 5 days like us. They went to school 6 days a week. They went to school from Monday through Saturday. They were off on Sundays, and then they would go back on Monday through Saturday. We only go to school Monday through Friday, but they went to school Monday through Saturday. So they went to school 6 days. Now, I don't know about you all, but I like Saturdays, right? I can relax. If I want to go shopping, I can do that. Imagine having to go to school on a Saturday.
No.
Would you like going to school on Saturday?
No.
Not at all. And only having one day off, which would be Sundays. But we see how important school was to the parents. So they will go to school 6 days a week. They were going to school. So in the schoolhouses, they had a man who was the teacher, and he was called the school master. They did not call him teacher. They called him the school master. It was only one room usually. no matter how old they were. And that's because they didn't have like 30 kids or, in one room or 50 kids. It was a mixture of ages and everything in one room. So no matter how old, you could have been 14 and you could have been 6. You were in the same class. Okay. So that's how, but that's because they didn't have like a lot of kids. Like if you go to school, you'll have about 100 first graders. It wasn't like that. So they would maybe only have like 2 6-year-olds, maybe 3 8-year-olds, 4 12-year-olds. So they only had like a little bit of each number of ages. So that's why they put everyone together. No matter how old they were, they all learned together. So they didn't have separate grades, separate ages. Everyone was together, learning together. So the children sat on benches instead of desks. And then you can look at the picture here. You can see that's how they sat. And so that's the desk, the top of the desk there. And then you see the bench right behind it. That's what they sat on. So it's a lot different from the desk that we have today. Okay. If they didn't have paper, they wrote on pieces of bark from a tree. And during winter, the fireplace warmed the schoolhouse. And every child would take turns bringing the firewood to school. And they would bring the firewood to start the fire and everything. Okay, so both the girls and boys were taught various skills like numbers, the alphabet, reading and writing, things like that, and they all learned together. Okay, so let's look at 59, and let's talk about their book that they learned to read from. So the first book a colonial child learned to read from was not really a book, but it was called a horn book. It was a thin sheet of paper with the reading lesson written on it. And it was placed on a piece of wood. Over this was a thin sheet of animal horn, which you could see through. Have you seen like those clear papers you can put paper in to protect the paper? It's called a sheet protector. So they kind of, you have a binder. Oh. They kind of put that over the page to protect it, right? And you could see through it. So the children would hold their horn books and learn their ABCs. The most widely used school book in all of America was the New England Primer, and this book taught each letter of the alphabet with a little rhyme. So they have A, in Adam's fall, we sin all. Z, Zacchaeus, he did climb a tree, his Lord to see. So they learned a lot of the alphabets, and they learned how to read from this horn book that they would make. And on page 60, they have an example of how to make a horn book. So you can do that, as well. Okay. So the horn book had letters of the alphabet and also the Lord's Prayer. And so how they protected the paper was they would have a cow's horn. They would use the cow's horn. They would soak the horn in cold. They would cut the horn off the cow. They would soak it in cold water to separate the horn from the bone. Then it was heated, pressed flat, and then you could see then it would turn into like that clear sheet that you could attach to the wooden paddle. So that's how they made. So this is how they made the horn book, and that's what they learned how to read from, this horn book. Okay, so that is it on Colonial Schools, page 60. Okay, so this is how the children went to school, how they did schooling in colonial times. So it's different from what we do now, but that's how they did it at that time. Then eventually, as time went on, the country began to grow. They realized they needed to do something different with schools. Okay. All right. So that is it for social studies on today. Okay. So let's do language real quick and then we'll be done. So yesterday I introduced verbs to you. Does anyone know the full definition yet? No. Oh, we still learning.
No. All
right, let's see. Who says I know the whole thing? Without reading it. You know it without reading it. Not yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. Keep practicing. So hold on. Okay, so keep practicing so that you can learn it all on Thursday. So what is a verb? Let's see. A verb is a word that does an action, shows a state of being, links two words together, or helps another verb. Again, what is a verb? A
A
verb
verb
is a
is
word that
the
does
word
an
that
action,
does an
shows a
action,
state of being,
does
links two words together, or helps
Bring
another
two
verb,
together.
or helps another verb. All
Uh-huh.
right, keep on
Yeah.
practicing. Keep on practicing. Tomorrow we'll practice actions. All right, good job today, guys. Awesome. I'm happy to see you all again today. So that is it for us on today. We've covered all of our lessons. You can complete your pages if you hadn't already. Because of time, we kind of have to go. Harlem, you can tell me tomorrow, okay? Just remind me. We'll finish a little earlier tomorrow, okay? Yeah, because of time, we have to finish in class. So, all right, guys, y'all have a great day. I will see you all on tomorrow, okay? Bye-bye.
Bye.